people make you lie down.
Yo yo, Maiyegun don come. Oh yo yo,
My people make we shout
oh
out.
yo yo, Maiyegun don come. Oh yo yo,
Maiyegun the command of the masses.
oh yo yo, Maiyegun don come. Oh yo yo,
Maiyegun diary political.
oh yo yo, Maiyegun don come. Oh yo yo,
This one not day of in
oh
mind.
yo yo, Maiyegun don come. Oh yo yo.
Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Maiyegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Maiyegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day, then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you laugh.
Oh yo yo, Maiyegun don come. Oh yo yo,
My people make you shout.
oh yo yo, Maiyegun don come.
Hello there.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀, làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun #1.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun Live.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun #1.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí.
Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun #1.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun #1.
This is Sunday sermon on Maiyegun's Diary Political, the Temple of Truth, TOT. And brethren, you are welcome. Remember, share the broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. And tell them, Maiyegun today.
Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun #1.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o, kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu.
Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun #1.
Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Maiyegun diary, Maiyegun
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Mo ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀
Tell them.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Share the broadcast.
Maiyegun ti dé.
And tonight,
Maiyegun ti dé.
it is going to be about poverty.
lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Poverty is not a virtue. Read the caption of the broadcast. Read the description of the broadcast. Take your time. Digest it, okay? And then sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Tonight, Maiyegun today.
Bá rúfin o.
Maiyegun mami.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Maiyegun mami.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá.
Maiyegun mami.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Maiyegun mami.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Òkúra olóṣèlú.
Maiyegun mami.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rà kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Mo ti dé. Again, good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. Okay, this is the Temple of Truth, the TOT, and you can tell your neighbor, welcome, neighbor, neighbor, welcome. Shake their hands, virtual shaking. Oh yeah, handshake, virtual handshake. Tell your neighbor you are welcome. But there is a caveat. Sunday sermon is not like every other or any other program that you regularly watch on Maiyegun's Diary Political. It is a no holds bar session, a place where we call A, B, B, and we don't give a damn about whose ox is God. Do you understand? Our conversation can lead to anywhere and anyone. On Sunday sermon, there is no sacred cow. Do you understand? So we usually advise people who are emotionally weak, people who are politically correct, and those who have been starved respect, and they are everywhere begging for it. And we, like I said, we just kind of be more blunt when we are doing the Sunday sermon, and the story is not always direct. It goes everywhere. But one beautiful thing about the Sunday sermon on Maiyegun's Diary Political is that it is the realest of the reals. It is the segment where you would picture yourself in the scenarios that Maiyegun will paint in telling his stories. You get that? You are not just going to sit down there and, imagine what it is like. No, 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 no. On Sunday sermon, the happenings, the scenarios that I'm going to actually picture and paint for all of us tonight would be much, much inclusive, whether you are in Nigeria or you are not in Nigeria, whether you believe that you are rich or you consider yourself average or even poor, in whichever category you probably found yourself, on Sunday sermon segments, you would see yourself clearly. And when I'm talking about those who are the victims of this fraudulent contraption, even if you are yet to see yourself as victims, you are going to feel what it is like that those who are already confirmed victims are feeling. It is magical. I promise you. This is the segment where people always kind of come back to me to say, you really, really took me on an emotional roller coaster. You got me thinking. And these are people who are not victims. So you understand? They are not being beaten by SASO. They are not being profiled by the criminal system in Nigeria. The corruption and the consequences of the corruption in Nigeria is not directly affecting them. But on Sunday sermon, you are going to feel affected. And then you probably will get to understand why a lot of people spend their evenings with Maiyegun as well. But yeah, if you remember the caveat, okay, you won't be offended. And if anything I say offends you, I would like to tell you that there will be no apologies. The best advice is to let you know that if it is becoming unbearable, you can easily excuse yourself, okay? That's the best. Mhm. So share the broadcast, invite your friends, and if you have done all of that, we can get started. You see, in my short life, what do you call life stage so far, I have gained so much knowledge about the consequences of bad leadership. It started with, what is government? Is government just some group of people who have a chance of being in power and then other people can try to be there and all of that stuff? You know what I mean? Like a position of privilege. Then I discovered that the generational destruction that bad leadership offers is so destructive that anyone who understands the danger of what this simply means, they will do everything within their power to prevent it or resist it. Hmm? Government is so powerful that the characters of people that are in control of any government in any part of the world are so crucial, so crucial, that if any error or mistake is made, their rogues and criminals seizes power, that country is done for until they wake up and end the adventure. You getting it yet? No? Okay, don't worry. Government is pretty much like God in sort of a, descriptive way, not like God, you know what I mean? Why? You see, government owns, is pretty much like they own the right to almost everything. When they say yes to something, they call it original because it is certified by that government. If there is no, if the government, if the government does not say you were born, you were not born. Until government says you are dead, you are not dead. Except for a banana republic like that of Nigeria, where people just go missing, killed, even by their own government, unaccounted for. You get what I mean? You before you can then say you want to kind of function in a society, it all starts from that identification. Oh, you have a date of birth, right? So you need something together, right? Government. Now, if you now decide to start family, or sorry, let's say you start a business, for example, the success of that business, 80% of that lies in the character of people who are indeed in your government. One single horrible policy can send millions of people into generational poverty, ruins, and destruction. That is how powerful government is. They don't work, but they take, which means they also depend on the same citizens, if they are actually like doing well, for them to even function. But in a corrupt system, citizens don't really matter, just like that of Nigeria. Now, when you now have people of questionable characters, criminals, in charge of your government, all right? For example, another one, when government, or let me say the character of people in your government, will also determine if corruption is going to be a state legalized sort of thing, or it will be frowned upon, like seriously. So when you have a system taken over by criminals, as you have in Nigeria, which means everything that was supposed to be legal, I'm sorry, everything that's supposed to be illegal normally, since they are the ones making the laws, all right? And they are the ones who are also executing the laws, okay? So it simply means by their own choosing, they will decide what is criminal and what is not, which means a society run like that, I mean, can be compared, if not worse, to a banana republic. Now, when you now take a look at what you have in Nigeria, also, leadership, the leadership that knows that when you allow all kinds of illegality to pass, as they always do, including corruption, including official policy corruption as well, which indeed are having their own adverse effect on the life of their people. Leadership. So character of people who goes into the position of leadership, right, we then have to determine, right, what such society will become and why. When you have a chance of comparing and you look at that of Nigeria, you have to be worried. Here, I left Nigeria about 12 years ago, okay, to a country here in the UK. And that was when, like I said, that was part of the time when I started kind of understanding the role of government. And if the prosperity and the wealth of the society is going to be sort of monopolized by just few people, few privileged people against, you know what I mean, the rest of the country, or the even distribution of wealth, which in return, right, will create a prosperous society, that will on its own, okay, cut and curb poverty. Then once poverty is down, crime will be down. When crime is down, pressure on those who are running the country is halved. And in that case, right, everybody can easily monitor. When things start going wrong, you can easily see where it is. Do you get what I mean? A country where no matter how greedy or how corrupt they are, they never made that mistake of monopolizing the wealth of the country. And not monopolizing the wealth of the country has sort of allowed them to really manage the prosperity of their country and their people. And it is so pronounced. All of us who came here get to realize that Nigeria is a weapon fashioned against us. And you cannot run a country like that and expect a sudden miracle, because Nigeria, what they have in Nigeria is the leadership that are so greedy, so corrupt, right, that they have monopolized the wealth of the country against the vast majority of their citizens. In that case, it has created generational poverty. It's generational poverty which has also created a society that is more or less like dog eat dog, where abnormalities are normalized, where things that are actually crime are not considered as real crime but being smart. So crimes increased as poverty increases. Now, meanwhile, the criminals who monopolize the wealth after after grabbing a power, who monopolize the wealth and continue to kind of, share that within themselves. And this time around, even flaunting it on the face of the citizens who are so impoverished up till now. Government. So in Nigeria, like I said, where you have criminals who have taken over the country for decades, they have no plan of wealth creation. In fact, they don't even know how to create wealth. If you don't know how to create wealth, you probably will never understand the process of wealth redistribution. They are more, they have created a society whereby, a lot are actually, striving to be better than their neighbor. Take a look at this. After I got to the UK, I have told you this before. This is the reason why, or what prompted the Maiyegun's diary political that some of you have sort of come to know today. The anger that I felt when I arrived the UK 12 years ago. And what was that rage and anger? I mean, I've heard a lot about this country. You know what I mean? I've seen movies, I've seen video, I've seen pictures. And for somebody who was born and then raised in Nigeria for 27, 28 years, I mean, I was expecting things to wow me. You know what I mean? Like, wow. But instead of being wowed, I became more angrier every day. I am like, there is 24 hours electricity, 24/7 electricity, 366 or 365 days a year, non-stop. Okay. The roads are all sort of clean, tarred, you know, the drainages are there. And then you see the, what do you call it? The security, the police, and then you see their healthcare system whereby all it took was just you know, register, and I don't really have to like begin to save money or take a loan or get an insurance if I have any healthcare problem. So their schools, you know, the trains and all of that. And every now and then, because I used to kind of ride a bicycle then, so it was easier for me to be around all those places and so many places like that. And I was like, if those who come here, I'm talking about the elites in Nigeria, not even just the politicians now. Let's put the politicians aside for now. Let's talk about the elite, the ones who parade themselves as rich people, not politicians now, just normal people. Elite, they call themselves. They live in, you know, big houses in Nigeria. You know what I mean? They drive lovely cars in their different shanties where they, or different estates where they built for themselves. Rich people's areas and all that. But that's Nigeria, Abi. They traveled out of Nigeria every year. Some of them traveled out of Nigeria more than 2 times in a year. Then you go back to the politicians themselves, their families and all of them, who are also traveling out of Nigeria every now and then, free of charge. They were using all of these facilities that they are seeing here. You get that? They are using all of them when they leave Nigeria. So if the politicians are already sort of on their own agenda, the agenda to keep the people in the perpetuity of poverty, what about the elite? Are they not really moved to get angry? This was me 12 years ago. I was asking myself, like, those who are elite in Nigeria, whose children school abroad, and so many of them travel abroad. Some of them are watching me right now, because there are so many of you watching me from Nigeria that can be considered as Nigeria elite. Do you not get angry? You know what I mean? Like, when you return back to Nigeria, every year, do you not get angry the way these roads have ruined Nigeria? I believe it is deliberate. And this is why it is completely unforgivable. And that is why I kind of don't encourage you to give anybody who is trying to be politically correct any breathing space. When somebody tells you, show some respect, don't you have culture, don't you have tradition, don't give them any breathing space, fire them. Do you get? Like, do you not get angry that Nigeria, a country of 200 million people, cannot generate electricity to actually power their own country for 63 years? Do you not get angry? Like, it's the same complaints all the time. That There is a light after the tunnel. There is light after the tunnel. Come on. There is no light after any tunnel. You are in a hole, in a deep hole. Do you not get angry? Like when you get back to Nigeria at the airport, because you are still friends with some of these politicians yourselves. But I know why. Because I am from Nigeria. So if I'm asking these questions, sometimes I need to let you know that we know the answers, even if they won't answer. Because you have leaders who have no empathy. They have no sympathy. They have no humanity. The agenda is to keep the people poor. But in their own miserable minds, they forgot the fact that any poor country or anywhere that the people are poorer, there will be increase in crime. And if there is increase in crime, even those of you who are benefiting from that rot, you are not safe. Does common sense should not tell them? I mean, let's leave people's alliances now. Let's leave them. Whether you are APC, no, let's leave all of that. I'm talking to those of you who are like Nigeria elites. You are driving on those bad, terrible roads. If you have a medical emergency, you would rather they take you to London because you believe that majority of the Nigerian hospitals, right, they are just glorified mortuaries. You know it. Do you not get upset? And with your wealth and your resources, do you not think you are enabling and collaborating with them by just sorting yourself out since you have been sorted? Your children have been sorted. The poor people, it's none of your business. Abi, what do they want you to do? The last time you gave about 20 boreholes to 20 communities since the government will not provide water. So in your own charity, you have done that. So what do we want us to? What do you want? What do we want you to do again? Is that not what you are telling yourselves? Since you can pay your way out of it, what do we want you to do? Because you are better than your neighbor. You better pass your neighbor. And if your neighbor no fit catch up, that is the problem of your neighbor, none of your own problem. And that makes a Nigerian elite. Majority of you who are parading yourselves as elite, former ambassador, former this, former that, CEO of this, CEO of that, and all those titles you love to parade in Nigeria as wealthy people who are living in the poverty capital of the world. I mean, that makes you kind of, apart from your collaboration with them, that makes you stinking elites who are living in a shithole, but they are not ashamed of it. They would love to host their family graduation in New York, in London, in Canada, in all those top cities where they charter private jets to fly to and all of that. Nigeria elite. But back to the people themselves. They want you to believe their poverty. I mean, I have seen it. Okay? I have seen where people have told me that God loves the poor. And this is also where I disagree completely with those who have used religion to sort of control your mind for the criminals that are going to what? Mortgage your future. This is where I kind of always have my own disagreement. They glorify poverty in Nigeria. They make those who have become the victim of poverty in Nigeria. They make them believe that there is nothing wrong in being poor. All you should know is that if you work hard and pray to God to bless you, then poverty can be gone. Do you understand that mentality? Eh? There are those, if I start, whenever I tell people or try to kind of analyze the official corruption and how that actually affects the generality of the people. You know what I mean? Some of them don't kind of care. They are just like, you are just eating. Apart from the Stockholm syndrome that makes the victim to begin to have emotional attachment to their own oppressor or bully is synonymous with Nigerians, no doubt. But they love to make them believe that if you work hard in a country with the highest number of jobless people, because of these guys. First, let me tell you how they make you poor. Okay? Because Nigeria is so poor that all you have is money, unfortunately, because of these selfish criminals. Poverty. I'll tell you. In the UK, I'll use here for you so that you can understand, because I've lived here for a while. So here in the UK, they have what they call the minimum wage. And the minimum wage, which is also like the living wage, under the charter of how many hours can you work and all of that. So what will come to you and all that. Then, in the same country, when it comes to infrastructures that are going to, number one, make it easier for me to earn that pay, which is to work. Okay? After providing that, they also provided, a chance whereby if for any reason, after working hard, I fall by the way, a welfare system that can indeed be like a buffer, something you can at least fall back on until you get back on your feet. But while that could be the life crisis that you're trying to like figure out, instead of you going down the drain, for example, spending money that you don't have on things that are not provided by the entire system, like the infrastructures that are not there. So I won't have to worry for my children. I don't have to worry about their education, like paying for their education. I won't have to. I won't have to worry if for any reason any member of my family develops any serious medical problem. I won't have to. I won't go poorer because of that. You get that? And like I said, there is always a welfare system that will take care of me if I fall under the weather, like, you know what I mean? So things that are going to keep that is going to keep, what do you call it? My self-esteem and human dignity and every other thing that should not turn me into slave, a pauper or a beggar. The system provides for that. So in Nigeria, right, those who were supposed to build roads, right, they will use the money. They'll get the contract, okay? They won't build the road. And if they did build the road, it will be substandard. So they take, what do you call it? Either the whole contract money or the chunk of it, and they move it out of Nigeria. The roads to farms where people are like growing food, crops and perishable foods, crops like that, they have no chance of moving their ripe fruits or food into the city because of bad road. The money for the road has been used to buy property in America, in UK, or any other part of the world That is the mindset of the ruiners of Nigeria. So those who are to normally break even, break poverty, economic freedom, because they are actually hardworking. The entire system that failed to provide that infrastructure will actually end up making them poorer and sort of worn out. So they will be working, but they will be poor. Yeah. So the same system, right, that refuse to build standard medical centers with well paid, remunerated staff that are in abundance anyway. The rest of the world is kind of harvesting them from Nigeria for the past 7 years. The world gain is Nigeria's loss. But the criminals don't care. They won't fund your health care. Okay? So here we are. They said in Nigeria today, with the facilities that these criminals have provided in 63 years, today in Nigeria, it is like one doctor to 21,000 Nigerians. And it is going to get worse. And it is the same thing with your police. They refused to fund them. Rather, they turned them into extortionist squad. So the hospitals that they failed to equip, the medical staff that they failed to pay, will end up turning your medical centers to simple glorified mortuaries. And the alternatively, after taking the monument for them out of Nigeria, they were also booking themselves the best medical centers abroad, paid for with the money meant for your own hospitals in Nigeria. The giant of Africa, the third largest oil producer, or where are they now? The third largest oil producer in Africa, or is it in the world, cannot generate 5,000 and distribute 5,000 megawatt of electricity. 63 years of independence. Now, not having reliable, dependable, and stable electricity in Nigeria has contributed over 60% to Nigeria underdevelopment, Nigeria's poverty. But guess those who choose not to do it? The criminals who took over power in Nigeria. The effect of a bad leadership. The leadership who didn't feel like, you have seen movies or probably seen documentaries of when they'll say power goes off somewhere in the Western world. And then they will begin to tell you how many lives were lost because power suddenly shut down in a particular part of the world. Because 24 hours electricity in this 21st century is no longer luxury, but in Nigeria, it is a luxury. If the power should go off here unannounced, there are people that will get trapped in their own elevator. There are people that are going to have to die if the power is not up at a certain time in different medical centers all over the world. All over that city. These are just for even those who are in the hospitals who have alternative power. There are those who are in their homes that their survivor, their life completely depends on this light cannot go off. If the light should go off in their homes, it is like automatic execution. So this number of people whose lives depend on, not to talk of those who are going to, in your household, who are going to lose and all of so many things, right? Through the power cut and all that. Now, let's even say, if the number of people whose lives are 100% attached to electricity, that power in wherever they are, let's say they are not even many. Let's say they are not many compared to the larger population. But if you don't have real leaders with empathy, with human, what do you call it? The human sympathy. Those who don't care for 2 will not care for 2 million. That's exactly what I have discovered. If you care for 2, you are likely going to be able to care for 2 million. And the priority over life in this country makes every sector vital, because life depends on them. Not in Nigeria. So they are giving you excuses. Meanwhile, the billions upon billions upon billions of dollars they invested in that, they ended up outside Nigeria. Not even like kept in Nigeria, open business, or do something that the money will still remain in that country, circulating there, serving the country in a different way. But how could they, when the intention is to actually keep everybody perpetually poor? So when they make electricity luxury and they continue to budget money for their own electric generating sets, and they normalize this, so everybody is open and praying till God will answer their own prayer, so that they won't have to worry about NEPA anymore, because the majority of people are already getting their own power. So if NEPA no bring lights, all the people who don't have money to buy generator, they should probably just go and work hard. I better pass my neighbor mentality. So the poverty is deliberate. And God does not love poor people. God does not give a fuck about the poor people. Poverty is demeaning. And in the case of Nigeria, it is man-made. So if you are going through hardship right now, it is not because you are a sinner. It is not because you don't worship God so much. It is because of your choice. And when I say your choice, I will explain that. There are many, many of you who consider whatever is going on in Nigeria, even though you are in Nigeria, is mostly none of your business. At least you are better off, right? That's what I mean. So if somebody is sort of raging, ranting because of the hardship they are facing, they will be noisemaker to you. You know that. I remember one movie, and it was inside a church. And, in Nigeria, people always sort of shout on God. If you have listened to where Nigerians who have seen Shege are praying, sometimes you'll be like, man, God damn it. Right? They are very, very, very aggressive. Father Lord, have I not served you? Have I not served you faithfully? I served you with all my life. Today, I cannot even afford my house rent. I fasted, I prayed, I have been very good. I have been this, I have been that. God, by the end of this year, I want to buy a car. I am tired of working. Heavenly Father, I'm tired. I need a car. So if you're standing next to it, just be like, oh my God. So yeah, there was this movie. And this guy was, they said they should all ask God whatever they wanted.